If the better than anything cake is your kind of dessert, this is the recipe video for you. Today we are making a cookie version. We're making Crumble's chocolate Heath cake cookie, and this is my copycat recipe for it. What is up, you guys? It is Carly here, and you're officially cooking with Carly. And like I said, we are making a delicious cookie today. We're making the chocolate Heath cake cookie. So let me give you all of the details here. We are talking like a super fudgy chocolate cookie that has sweetened condensed milk, like caramel-esque stuff drizzled all over the top of it. And then on top of that, we have a whipped cream frosting with Heath bar bits sprinkled on top. And then, of course, it's served chilled. I know I said that the chocolate peanut butter cookie was my favorite, but I think this surpassed my chocolate peanut butter cookie in the favoriteness. This one is really, really good. So let's talk about our ingredients. There's a few extra here today that you might be surprised at. And before we get going on this, I need to tell you that there's a link in the description below where you can go to my blog, and there's a printable recipe there so you can get all of the specific ingredient amounts so you can make these cookies at home too. So we've got butter here and some sugar, both granulated and brown sugar. We have 3 eggs, so we're adding in an extra egg today to make it nice and moist and chewy. We have vanilla, and then this is actually corn syrup, which will also give us that nice fudgy texture. And we have all-purpose flour. This is dark Dutch processed cocoa, some cornstarch, also for that texture, and then baking soda and salt. To make these cookies, we're going to start out by creaming our butter and sugars. So the butter is going into my stand mixer as well as the sugars. We're going to cream them until they're nice and fluffy. It'll be light in color and light in texture. If you haven't seen any of my other Crumble Copycat videos, definitely check those out. I'm getting quite the library now, and if you have any suggestions of what video I should make next, add that to the comments below. I'm making a list. I have way too much fun figuring out how these recipes work and putting all of the ingredients together to get the desired results. So anyway, brown sugar going in, and the white sugar, and we'll get this mixing. Now that that's all mixed together, we're going to add in our liquid ingredients. So for this recipe, it's our eggs, vanilla, and this corn syrup. And our vanilla. And I'm gonna pull out a little spatula here to help with our corn syrup. All right, we'll give this another mix until it's nice and combined. Now lastly, all of our dry ingredients are going in, so I'm just going to toss them all in there at the same time, and then we'll mix until everything's combined, and then we will scoop them out, roll them, and get them in the oven. So all-purpose flour, and our cocoa, cornstarch, and salt and baking soda. All right, now start slowly so it doesn't explode everywhere. And we'll mix this until it's combined. This is going to be a pretty soft dough. That's what we're looking for. So as you can see here, the dough is definitely softer. than most of my cookie recipes, but that is just because we added that extra egg and there's that corn syrup in there. It will just result in a super nice fudgy cookie. It's exactly what we're looking for. So I'm going to clean this up, pull out some pans, and we will get to scooping and rolling our cookies. I recommend using silicone baking mat or parchment paper for this cookie, because as soon as these cookies come out of the oven, we're going to pour sweetened condensed milk on top of them. So the sweetened condensed milk will soak into the cookie, make them super sweet and delicious, but it will also run off the edges too. And with a silicone baking mat or parchment paper, it'll make taking those cookies off of the pan like a breeze. It will get really sticky if it's just on the cookie sheet though. So make sure for this recipe you put something down. This recipe is going to make about 12 cookies. And so I'm going to just use my 1/2 cup measuring cup to scoop these out. You could also gather up your dough and cut it into 12 equal pieces. That would work too. If you're going to use your 1/2 cup, you're going to just want to do a little less than a 1/2 cup so you can get those 12 cookies. So let's get scooping and rolling. So scoop to portion them out, and then we're going to, I'll show you really fast, roll them into a ball and then flatten them slightly so they kind of look like a hockey puck, and place them on our pan. You're going to just want to place 6 on a pan because they will spread and flatten a bit. While I'm rolling these out, go ahead, like the video, subscribe to my YouTube channel with that notification bell so you don't miss any of my upcoming copycat recipes. I've got quite the lineup and you're not going to want to miss out on any of them. So the cookies are all rolled out. I've flattened them. They're all nice and equal. So these are going to head into the oven. My oven is preheated at 350 degrees, and these are going to bake anywhere from 15 to 17 minutes. You'll know that they're done when they've spread slightly, they start to crackle a little bit on top, and the center right here on the cookie doesn't look shiny and wet anymore. So these are going to go in the oven, and then like I said, as soon as they come out, we're going to spread and pour a little bit of sweetened condensed milk right on top of them. The cookies just came out of the oven. I'm going to pull them over here, and we're going to put our sweetened condensed milk onto the cookies. So let me go grab the cookies. We'll take a peek at them. So here are the cookies, and as you can see, they have crackled, they've spread a little bit, and they are a little bit more flat than when we first put them in the oven. So now we're going to put the sweetened condensed milk onto the cookies, and we have 12 cookies here. We're going to use this 1 can of sweetened condensed milk on all 12 cookies. So I'm just going to do a generous large spoonful. That is so specific, I know. It'll end up being about a tablespoon and a half of each, on each cookie of the sweetened condensed milk. So I'm going to take a generous spoonful here and place it right in the center of my cookie and spread it around. Just like this. And like we talked about before we made the cookies, this is going to run off the sides of your cookies, probably get on the bottom of your cookies a little bit. That's what makes this cookie delicious and why we use the silicone baking mat for this cookie. All right, we're just going to repeat this with all of the cookies. So once we repeat this and have all of our cookies coated in this sweetened condensed milk, we are going to wait until they are completely cool. So when I say completely, I mean completely cool. And then we are going to make our whipped cream frosting and then frost them and then toss them in the fridge to chill before we serve them. So there's just a teeny tiny bit left in the can here. We used just about the entire can on these 12 cookies. So let's make this whipped cream frosting. It only consists of 3 ingredients, and it's really simple to make, and it is so good. I'm excited for you guys to try it. So we've got heavy whipping cream, some powdered sugar, and then just a little bit of vanilla. So to make this, you're going to want to use just like your stand mixer with your whisk attachment, or you could even do this with like an electric hand mixer. But the first thing we're going to do is start whipping this whipping cream until it starts getting thick. And then once it starts getting thick, we'll add in the powdered sugar and vanilla, and then whip it fast until stiff peaks form, and then this frosting is done. So the frosting is super thick, and this will make it so we can pipe it, and it will keep its shape, and it won't fall or flatten anything like that while it's in the fridge. So this whipped cream frosting that we've made here will stay well in the fridge for like a week without deflating. It won't lose its shape or anything like that. So we're going to put this in a piping bag with a closed star tip. That's what we're going to use to decorate the top of these cookies. And then we're going to pull those cookies out, those chilled cookies out of the fridge, and we will decorate the top of them. And then, of course, top it off with some crushed Heath bar. All right, we are ready to put these cookies together. And as you can see, I was out of piping bags, so I just used gallon zip top bags. It works just as well. So that's what I'm using for the frosting. And then I also have the chopped Heath bits here, and I actually just bought this bag that was already chopped just down the baking aisle of my grocery store, or you could just buy the candy bars and crush them yourself. And then here are our chilled cookies just out of the fridge, so they are nice and cold. So how we're going to frost these is we're going to actually do like a zigzag back and forth across the top of the cookie, and then we'll sprinkle on the Heath bars. All right, so let's start piping these. So like I said, we're just going to do a zigzag back and forth. Just like that. And then we'll sprinkle on some of these Heath candy bits on top to finish off the cookie. And I just want to remind you that these ones do need to be stored in the fridge. They're served chilled, but store them in the fridge because they do have whipped cream on them. So they're not shelf stable. They need to be refrigerated to stay good. Like I said at the beginning of the video, if you are a fan of the Better Than Anything cake, this is basically that cake in cookie form. It is so delicious, and you will impress yourself with these cookies because they're really not that hard to make. You'll impress anyone else who eats them. So put this on your must-make ASAP list and come back and tell me in the comments how delicious you think they are when you make them. Oh, out of this world. Those are so good. Hold your horses, peanut gallery. I am tasting. No, these are just mine. Nobody gets these.